Hi, this is Mark Vina with Smart Tech Research. I'm here with Nitin Kumar from Qualcomm, who is the VP of Product Management for the Snapdragon group. And I'm here at this great event where we're getting a briefing on some of the new announcements they've made. Nitin, Qualcomm has made so many advances in the last 5-6 months in terms of coming out with a very capable is actually a very modest conservative word, which we'll talk about in a second, about empowering Windows running on laptops and PC class type of devices. We're going to be talking about a part that you just announced that will be really, really attractive. But let's talk a little bit about the journey of what you've been able to accomplish. Really, that's kind of started off with Snapdragon Elite at your X Elite at your Summit conference a few months ago. And what's remarkable about this to me, before I'll let you jump into that, is that you've been playing in the Microsoft ARMS Windows space for some time, but up until the Elite part came out, it was, I won't say it was a science project, but you know, the performance was okay. I'm not sure consumers were seeking out laptops with a Snapdragon processor. But that all changed, of course, when Elite came out. But let's talk a little bit about that journey and kind of starting with that, and then we'll kind of get into the news around the new part that you just announced today.
Absolutely, and thanks, Mark, and very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Absolutely, and happy to talk about Snapdragon Compute. Very passionate about it as well. Mm-hmm. So we announced Snapdragon X Elite in October last year at our Snapdragon Summit event. What we are on to is we're on a journey, we're on a mission to improve the end user experience for the PCs, for the laptops. Like, we believe there is more from your laptop that a user should be able to get that enhances his life, that enhances the experience, that enhances his day-to-day activity, whoever they are, whatever they are doing, whatever they expect out of the PCs, it should be a lot better. It should be far better. That experience should be very commendable. We set on a mission to enable that for our end user, for our customers. With Snapdragon X Elite, we took 3 pillars in mind on how we want to look at that platform and what drives Snapdragon Elite uniqueness in this space. One was absolute leading performance and battery life. We want the mobility aspect of the laptop. It's called a notebook. People want to take that and carry that around no matter where they are. It needs to last day, multi-day. We want to focus on that multi-day battery life experience, mm-hmm. but providing that high performance as well. You don't want to drain that out. You want to provide that high experience, top experience, multi-day battery life.
And we're going to get into that because What's remarkable about this is that it's great extending battery life if you throttle down the performance of the processor. That's not a very difficult thing to do. But what's intriguing about Elite, and certainly about the part we'll be talking shortly, is that there is no compromise here. You're getting very, very, not very good, superior performance with Elite, and we can define what superior means if the benchmarks are to be believed, and I do believe them. But the messaging really is that you don't have to compromise battery life. So you're not running the processor at full throttle and I get 20 minutes of performance. We're talking about multi-day performance, and that to me is remarkable if you're a content creator like I am with my podcast.
Absolutely, you nailed it, Mark. It's leading performance, no compromise on performance, and multi-day battery life. That was our number one pillar, and we are very pleased with what we have delivered with Snapdragon X Elite, and we'll touch on the Snapdragon, the new announcement that we're making today. And the second aspect was to drive AI capability for a broader set of use cases for a broader set of customers. AI is a very fundamental and very deep technology that is at a very pivotal point to drive a variety of experiences. Qualcomm has a long history of innovating on AI. We have been innovating on AI for more than a decade, and we have integrated a 45 TOPS of dedicated NPU on our Snapdragon X Elite platform.
You need to repeat that number.
45 TOPS of dedicated NPU that sits in the Snapdragon X Elite, and that drives a variety of AI applications, and that are all running locally on the edge. So the second pillar on what we believe will drive a whole set of experiences AI capability, advanced AI capability running locally on the device when you need it the most with low latency, zero latency, no hitting back on the cloud. And the third is to overall drive the best multimedia experience. Support for best displays as well, support for larger displays, higher resolution displays,
multiple displays, high
multiple
resolution.
displays, better camera support, have MIPI camera support with next generation of imaging technology. We have a lot of history in providing best in class imaging technology on our smartphone, Snapdragon smartphone technology, and we're bringing that technology down into the PC space, because a lot of the times you're on the conference calls, video calls, your video recording, you want that better multimedia enhancement and multimedia capabilities that drives that experience. So when you combine all that together, that's the mission we are on, to drive high performance, multi-day battery life, drive the AI capability, drive overall user experience from the platform, from whatever you are doing. This should fundamentally change on what a PC is to you, what you can do out of your PC.
Now, I've got it. This is kind of a multi-part question. Microsoft Windows has been available in ARM for some time. It kind of had a reputation, especially with enterprise accounts, saying, yeah, it's kind of interesting. The silicon support for doing the kind of applications you're talking about really wasn't available, maybe wasn't available 2 years ago. But there were always kind of concerns about compatibility, legacy drivers and things. I get the sense, and I think I'm pretty grounded in saying this, is that Microsoft really sees the ARM version of Windows in a very strategic manner. They've made a tremendous amount of progress in the latest bills they've provided in terms of compatibility. Now, of course, with Copilot, which is really becoming their most powerful attribute of the latest version of Windows, because they really have bought the farm on AI. I think that's a fairly safe statement to make. But talk about the ARM issue in terms of overcoming that, because I think it's important. And I will say that I think Microsoft has made a lot of progress. But do you see a world 6 months from now where it doesn't really matter whether that Windows version is x86 based or ARM based? Hey folks, this is Mark Vina, CEO of SmartTech Research. SmartTech Research is proud to have Aura sponsoring my SmartTechCheck podcast. Aura security software is the all-in-one digital safety net for the whole family. It's literally like having a personal cyber guardian that protects all of the devices in your home on a 24/7 basis. What's more, its AI functionality stands out as it constantly learns and adapts to threats, keeping your family and you safe around the clock. It's a must-have solution for anyone serious about online security. Stay tuned for a special no-obligation promo offer for Aura that will give you cybersecurity peace of mind.
Hi, I'm Anna with SmartTech Research. Whether you're browsing the web, checking emails, monitoring your children's online behavior, spam calls and identity protection, and conducting online transactions, Aura has your back, ensuring a secure and seamless experience every time. Aura's comprehensive security solutions are compatible with Microsoft Windows, Apple Mac OS, Android, iOS, and iPad OS devices. For an exclusive 14-day no-obligation trial version of Aura, use the on-screen QR code or visit the website shown here. Aura is the smart, simple way to stay safe online.
Yeah, you've said it correctly, Mark. So yes, Microsoft's been a tremendous partner for us, along with us on this journey. And with regard specific to your point on software and software ISVs and ecosystem, together with Microsoft, we've made a tremendous progress over, let's say, I'll say more than 2 years, a little more than 2 years. A lot of effort being put in by Microsoft and us to bring that developer community, to bring that compatibility on the ARM ecosystem as well, on Windows, on Snapdragon ecosystem as well. I'll give you a few examples that are worth mentioning that shows the journey where we have been together with Microsoft. So I think at build of 2022, if I'm not wrong, Microsoft announced a platform Volterra, that was based on Windows on Snapdragon architecture, and that is what was seeded to a developer community to bring their applications onto the Windows on Snapdragon platform. That Volterra platform was based on Snapdragon architecture, and now a year and a half or 2 years into that, we see that a lot of those applications are compatible and are running native on Windows on Snapdragon architecture. So to exactly your point, that to a user, it's just so seamless that you buy this PC, fundamental architecture could be different than what it has existed, but the software ecosystem, software ISCs have evolved tremendously on this, that most of your apps, if not all of your apps, will just seamlessly work phenomenal on this architecture,
well, and
deliver more performance.
Well, and on that point, based on the demos that I've seen and some of the discussions I've had off camera, you look at the emulation capability for those applications that are not yet optimized to run on ARM, running on your silicon, you're seeing performance even in an emulation scenario even higher than what you expected. So it's not like you're trading off, well, the software's running, but you're not getting the performance boost that you'd like to get. And then, of course, when you move that software to an optimization phase, then you really see the performance take off. But let's talk a little bit about that, because that emulation piece, I think, really goes a long way to making people feel a bit, hey, yeah, from a deployment standpoint, this is where the world is going.
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. And we worked very closely with Microsoft on that. With Microsoft and their Windows team, they've made tremendous progress in terms of emulation capability on the ARM or Windows on Snapdragon platform. And Microsoft will, I think, announce more on that hopefully soon. And we'll all get to know about it. But we are very pleased with the journey that both Qualcomm engineering team and Microsoft engineering team took upon the challenge and then figured out on the emulation performance. And it is going to be incredible. To your point, to the end user, it is going to be so seamless that even if you're running an emulated app, it might just actually perform better than even a native app. I'll hold on to that. When the devices get launched, we'll do the measurements, but we are very happy with where we are headed on that front. I'll also touch...
And we're talking about some heavy-duty applications. I just saw a demo with DaVinci Resolve, which is kind of the de facto, that is not that's not running like a low-end word processing software. I mean, it's a very heavy-duty application. Even there, you're seeing tremendous performance.
Absolutely, and more of those applications like the one that you saw, DaVinci Resolve, are using and leveraging that dedicated NPU of 45 TOPS of capability and running those models, running those video enhancements, running those mask algorithms, leveraging AI on device so quickly and in a much better quality standard, if you will, from that perspective. We will see more and more of these use cases, and that ties back to the fundamental point and the mission that we are on, that it should enhance the user experience. It should enhance what a laptop provides to the end user. On the app front, I'll also touch on Google Chrome made an announcement last week as well.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And Google Chrome browser has a native support for Windows on Snapdragon or Windows on ARM architecture that is now available.
So I have two questions left, but the first question before I get to the second question is about the news of the day. So you're now that you've secured a pretty strong position at the high end with the X Elite solution, which is I would say that's the Maserati, based on the numbers I've seen, that's really a Maserati type part. But no, I think that you don't have to be a rocket scientist to get to that conclusion. But being a good marketing company, good business company, now Qualcomm is getting into more of the, I don't want to say value space, because value space, unfortunately there's kind of a feeling that, oh well, that means you're talking about low-end PCs. You're coming out with this new X Elite, X Plus part, which will play with less expensive SKUs. Let's talk a little bit about that, because my guess is, and the PC OEMs love to hear, give me a part that's a little bit more affordable, but you look at the numbers, and even from a performance standpoint, it challenges some of the competitive offerings, both from outside the traditional PC space. We wouldn't say what company that is. And by the way, even from the more conventional players. So let's talk about that and how Qualcomm is going to message that, because it's a little bit of a messaging challenge, because you're coming out with a part that, call it Maserati light. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely, Mark. So we're touching on that. Yes, we announced today a new tier within our Snapdragon X portfolio, our Snapdragon compute platform, Snapdragon X Plus. And tying back to our mission to drive that better experience, we've launched Snapdragon X Elite in the marketplace. We want a larger set of customer base to have that experience. And to try that, we've announced Snapdragon X Plus. To your point, absolutely not. That's not, I would not categorize that as a value segment as well. I think both can be classified in the premium segment.
Yes.
X Elite delivers like the top of the notch, the premium part, the premium experience, and X Plus, because of all the fundamental architecture advantages that we have, that fundamental architecture that drives that longer battery life, that also carries over to X Plus. On top of that, we are driving that same AI capability between our X Elite and X Plus platform. X Plus also has the dedicated 45 TOPS of NPU capability. The AI algorithms that you run.
You love that number, 45 TOPS.
I love that. 45
I'm going to play that in the
TOPS
lottery.
NPU.
I'm going to play that in the lottery tonight.
That's absolutely. You're going to win, Mark. You're going to win.
I should hope so.
Yes. Let me know.
So the interesting thing is, and I think that you're characterizing it accurately, the question I really have is from we're going back to the application piece, because it applies both to Elite and to Plus, is that what's really important is convincing customers, OEMs want a piece of silicon technology that allows them to message to consumers and businesses of all different types that, hey, if you're running AI-based applications locally, there's all kinds of advantages you accrue with that. There are a lot of people, yeah, ChatGPT is great, but I'm not sure I want to run applications in the cloud that might compromise my security and privacy. That's just one small example, but the point I'm making is that there is a story to be told about running AI-based applications locally for security reasons, for privacy reasons. There's also, I think, from a performance standpoint, if I'm running applications locally, will that application perform a bit more, responsively, shall we say? So, what is Qualcomm doing to work with developers, which are really the key component here, to make sure those applications get ported, to make sure that the OEMs have a good story saying, hey, if you're running your AI-based applications locally, you're going to get some additional advantage out of that because you've got AI, NPU-based technology at the device level.
Absolutely, Mark. So you touched on that, and I'll expand a little bit if that's okay. So one is that, especially in the enterprise use cases, you want the data to be stored locally on the device.
Yes.
Some enterprises, based on whatever work they're doing, may not be comfortable if the data goes onto the cloud, and you want to run all those AI algorithms, whether it be image generation or large language models,
right.
And you want to run them locally on the device from a privacy and a security angle, and you need a very heavy AI engine in the platform that Snapdragon X Elite and X Plus provide that capability. That's one. Second is, if you want to run from a low latency, you want that faster response around it. You don't want to hit the cloud, you want to run that model locally as well. And of course, running an inference on the cloud is a lot costlier from a pure total cost of ownership or dollars perspective versus then you have this resource running it locally. You have this device locally. It doesn't hit the cloud. It doesn't hit the cloud expense as well. And third, a lot of times it could be that you are not even in a connected environment. You're in an airplane mode. You're sitting on a long-haul flight for a 5-hour coast-to-coast flight, but you want to write your essay if you're a student. You want to write your PowerPoint that you wanted to get done for your work. You want to do your video editing that you wanted to get done.
Are you saying that the internet access on planes is bad?
I am not saying that internet access on planes is bad.
Southwest,
but
and to United Airlines, that Qualcomm personally, that just occurred to me that we live in an always connected world, and if you're running applications, internet access. I mean, there's some internet technology that's coming out from a satellite standpoint that makes the performance a bit more spritey, but it's never going to be like, at least for the foreseeable future, not going to be like sitting in your home office. So that's really intriguing, is that having that capability at the device level, even if your internet connection doesn't exist, or it's very, it may be lightweight in terms of what you might. Yeah, that's interesting. That's
Yeah, because
interesting.
those scenarios, you can get a lot done on
Oh,
your
yeah.
device and utilize your 45 TOPS of NPU capability on device to get all that done.
Sure.
But you get the point. Sometimes those scenarios, sometimes you cannot take the data onto the cloud because of privacy reasons. Sometimes because it's just too expensive on the
Right.
cloud. There can be different models where it runs a lot on locally and only heavier ones go to the cloud.
Well,
There's
let's face it. When you're using AI tools for meeting transcriptions and things like that, where you're discussing company roadmaps and confidential information, the companies can come all day long and say, hey, well, we all have all kinds of encryption. That's never going to happen. Well, the way you can eliminate it, entirely, is you have all that stuff running locally.
Absolutely. The data never leaves your device. There is nothing better than that.
Last question: when do you think we'll see devices with the Plus ports available?
We are super excited about it. The devices are coming mid-2024. The wait is almost over. It's right there. We are super excited about it.
Well, you should be, because I'm going to run out and buy one myself. And
Absolutely.
I say that because you see some of the data that Qualcomm has been sharing with me and other analysts, and it's mind-blowing. With 45 TOPS of performance. I'll just plug that. But Nitin, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure meeting you. Thank you.
Nice seeing you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks
again.
Take care. Bye.